Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to KwingsLetsPlays and the continuation of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. You guys did it. You were able to get 1,000 views on the last stream, so congrats. It's time for episode 39, Turnabout for Tomorrow, or Turnabout for No Tomorrow. As things have heated up, there's a mock trial happening in the broken courtroom. Miles Edgeworth is back, and we're going to try to prove the innocence of, I guess, the brother, the samurai who's been on, the prosecutor this entire Dual Destiny series. I think he was even the prosecutor in Apollo Justice. I don't remember. But here we go.
Yep, and just so you guys know, Ponco is still gonna have the same voice because that's what a voice modifier would be. Like if I would talk through a Batman voice modifier, my voice would sound like Batman, not a girl. So Luke is still doing Ponco. But thank you for the suggestion, but it wouldn't, to us it wouldn't sound normal for me to do a female robot voice for a male robot.
The robots have, the blue robot is male, the yellow robot or orange robot is a girl. So when the yellow or the orange robot happens, Amber will voice her, and I'll be handling the regular robots.
Yeah, I like Luke's Ponco robot.
Something like that, yeah.
Otherwise it'll be too confusing for me if I'm doing, I would have to think of another robot voice then. And I definitely can't think of a different robot voice. I only have one robot voice in me.
Okay, so we're at the destroyed courtroom. Outside.
Yep, Aura is talking through Ponco. However, when Aura talks through Ponco, his voice sounds like Ponco. Just like if I would talk through a Batman modifier voice, it would sound like Batman. Like, that's just normal. Like, when people talk through voice modifiers, it's going to talk like that person. I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick.
You did? That's great. Really appreciate it.
A red psyche lock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out.
Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmo.
But a black psyche lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that that person isn't even consciously aware of.
So even they don't know if it's there, huh?
Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose, Mr. Nick. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay,
so all I have to do is break the psyche locks, huh?
According to my research, a black psyche lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul.
In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Aye. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side for me? She must be suffering under the weight of such heavy burdens.
Alright, Mr. Nick. Will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick?
I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength.
And you can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back.
No, that's not it, kid. It just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. I'm counting on you.
Alright, I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick.
Alright, good. Now that my mind is at ease, better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago.
Thank you for the super chat, Justo Kenobi. He says, this is the best case ever. Thank you so much, Justo.
It's the most interesting case, yeah.
It is?
It's very exciting. Robots attacking people. A case from many years ago. The return of Phoenix Wright. Edgeworth. There's a lot of stuff here. The only thing missing is Mystic Maya.
Yeah, I wonder.
Gang's all here. And Larry. If Larry showed up, it would be a reunion. Defense, prosecution, and judge. They're all even people in the gallery. This is going to be interesting. The roof has been completely blown off, and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. All rise for the Honorable Me. Inside this ruined courtroom. Court, some of it is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Is this so? What do you want me to do?
That's now her because she has the purple voice.
Oh, okay. So if it's purple, it will be me. Okay, so I guess you guys were right, what you guys were saying. If it's a green Clonko, so when it's Luke's Clonko voice, it'll be green. We'll do it like that.
Yeah.
Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap.
Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. All right. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes, I suppose. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce.
What did you say?
Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to His Honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. I recall the case of Ur-1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case was ushered in the odious dark age of the law.
I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today...
Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the Ur-1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Wright, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree.
Uh-oh.
Dun 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 dun.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Cool anime.
Yeah.
Okay. This immense tension between us, it's like we're picking up where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena's innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. That means there's someone else. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for chief, bit your honor. I'm here as simply a prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. It's been a while. Although I've been known for late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I have ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement, Your Honor. Oh, of course. You're right. I was having a little bit of fun with it. Ah, so he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the Ur-1 incident. Okay.
Yep, it's the final countdown. That's right, Isaiah. Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-bum.
This is... Miles Edgeworth.
Yeah, the animation is great, Later Gator. Definitely. Great to see you guys. And thank you again, Isaiah, for the super chat last stream. It really and encouragement. I really appreciate that so much. Thank you, Isaiah.
Alright, here we go.
And hi, Billy. Hi, Tim. Princess Emmy, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well.
The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Station 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Meta Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mom. Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor at the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed... Oh, it's her again.
Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now hurry up and call the witness.
Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, yes, you are very kind to show such concern for my welfare as an elderly person. Skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth a new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? And just who is this witness anyway? Oh, it's our favorite character. Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust! What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy with confining and threatening the hostages and all. Ha ha! That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in on Clonco, though.
I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best, I'm watching you.
Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go! My favorite character. Okay. So we got 13 minutes. Aura's theory. Okay. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time, they say. Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes! And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, they were rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling, they're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing these 3 cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had perfectly good reason to think that too! You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. I can see why that footage helped to bring this trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony, and there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi. That is what the evidence is saying, Wright. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you claiming that an 11-year-old girl... Of course the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers with speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy robot thing that she's done quite a few times in court? The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as the benefits society, I don't see any particular problem with researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting that... I've done my best to delegate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Ha! Whoa. Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed, Mr. Wright. If you could, Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes. Cross-examination. Or Blackwell, whatever. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone else.
Hold it!
So, Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else? Yes, that is precisely what Miss Blackwell appears to believe. And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena Sykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine. I expected no less. Oh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. I'm only reading notes here, but yes, I feel extra invigorated too. So let's keep going. Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder.
Hold it!
But that isn't speculation. I mean, that's just speculation. Objection. No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims. Objection again! Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
Objection!
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it," and cut me off. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny-weeny bit. Ha ha ha! Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case?
Hold it!
This rolling case, I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it? But was absent when the crime scene photos were taken? Yes, that's the one, and Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what is that conclusion? You're the one reading her notes, you dolt. Oh, right, of course, reading them now, so why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside.
Hold it!
And how do you propose he hid a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten what we saw just such a thing only a few hours ago, the other day? At your own daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person into a small box. Ah! Yeah, way to ruin a memory of a good day, you jerk. A magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. You people are always leaving me out of the fun. Actually, I would have liked to go too! My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I promise. So wait a minute. What are we even talking about again? Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone! And the only person small enough to fit inside...
Hold it!
This is the Kwing show starring Kwing. It's me! Okay. That's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. Oh, in that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
But be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Huh. Then let me ask you this, Wright. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case?
Well, Mr. Wright, can you?
Yikes! Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through that, or be in that... What could have been in the case? Whoa! Alright, guys and gals. We've got 2 options. Bluff, don't bluff.
Oh my gosh, Luke.
Alright, the bluffs have it.
Yeah, I guess we should try bluffing. I don't know. I mean, that's what Phoenix always does. Isn't it?
Phoenix always does, that's right. Alright, here we go. The famous Phoenix Wright bluff. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory, if it's true, that is.
This is the crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare with this photo of the Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be one of these things in the photo. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
Right, then, Mr. Wright, let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder?
The broken arm? Probably.
I think so.
Take that!
Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the card in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime scene, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime.
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second photo. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be?
Is that really just an insignificant robot part? I wonder. Speaking of which... Oh, Amber.
What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball.
Stingy, stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could have been an arm from a robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be particular for just the moon rock and a robot arm.
But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, if it is the defense's assertion... Wow. Your Honor, it's the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case.
What? Why a robot?
Objection!
We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of a technology illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines, including VCRs. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot arm it belonged to. This thing. Whoops. Where is it? Where is it?
I don't know what it would
This
prove.
one.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponco.
Oh, good job, Luke.
But take a look at Ponco's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponco. Where are you going with this, Phoenix?
Order in the court, I say. What's left of it? Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this?
I concede that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. The case does come
up about mid-high on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that little girl.
They've got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponco fit into the case by dismantling her? Yes. Alright, here we go.
I'm doing what I always do, is just share the video on almost 20 different places so that we can actually grow the video, because most people are sharing maybe 0 to 5 times, and the video actually needs to be shared about 25 times to grow since we're shadow banned. So I am part of about 17 different Ace Attorney Facebook groups. There's an Apollo Justice Reddit. There's a regular Ace Attorney Reddit.
Okay, don't say all the sources.
Well, I'm just telling you that there's tons of different places you can share the video. Okay. I'm doing what I do every single day, which is work my tail off to share the videos.
I didn't get to finish. Thank you for sharing the videos.
No one ever does thank me. They just ask me why I don't do more.
No, and now I know what you're doing, so I'm good. Dismantling her. Of course Ponco would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside the rolling case. It appears to be a robot assembly device, yes. There's Pearl.
Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that the body was on the table where the robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if a katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart?
I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them, I guess.
Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponco was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponco was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean...
Yes, Your Honor. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is indeed a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponco was scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet, which we can't see pictured in this photo.
Not hearing this! Not hearing this!
Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes was never at the scene at the time of the murder.
Ah! My head, my body, where am I? Ah!
Well done, Phoenix.
Order in the court.
It's true that Ponco was found in pieces after the murder, and I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards.
Photo of the crime updated in the court record. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent.
Objection!
Right. Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot instead. Alright! What's going on here? It's never good when he plays things like this straight.
Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene of the crime?
No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponco and Miss Sykes couldn't have both fit inside that case.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the onset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Right. Thanks to the defense, that is. Edgeworth. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene?
Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, as if he was holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing, the victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape.
A blood stain with a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones, made just for her. What's...
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this is no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted into Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp.
A most gruesome stamp indeed.
Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was without question present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
Ah! Order! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well, Your Honor.
Objection!
Oh, right. I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time?
No, I don't see any record of a robot being questioned, or even being considered unrelated to the case.
But as it turned out, the robot was actually was unequivocally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponco to the stand.
A robot witness? Well, I've seen stranger things. Order! Order in the court! Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this?
Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. A monkey, a bird, a parrot. Why not a robot? So why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore. He even interviewed a whale.
Very well, I'll allow the witness. Bailiff! Please summon the robot named Ponco!
A witness, please state your name and occupation. Robot. Ponco, take stand. Alright, here we go. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness. My name is Ponco.
Yes, I realize that. But when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness.
No, I am not. I am Ponco. Say it with me, Ponco.
What an utterly inflexible little robot.
Uh-oh.
You're the last person who should be calling anything inflexible.
Aha! You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his name. Oh, how precious.
Alright, Ponco, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Meta Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes! I was there in the robotics lab.
Whoa. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all. This is great! I just knew Ponco must have seen something important.
A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable.
The judge seems ready to adopt Ponco as his another grandchild.
So, little Ponco, do you think you could give us your testimony today?
Little Ponco.
She has little eyelashes.
Yes, she does. What she saw?
I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. Then an error occurred. There is no data after that point.
Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder.
I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. Huh? What? How do you figure? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited.
So what are you suggesting?
The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the term hug, and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child.
They don't, but,
Yes. What this witness statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with a murder weapon during this moment.
What?
I was saying Athena stabbed her mom and then she fell down.
Yep. Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other and very loudly. I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this as they argued.
I see. Murder after a heated argument, and the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponco doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well admit defeat now, Wright. A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it, robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and a valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time.
Very well, even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I always side with Edgeworth.
I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. Okay, cross-examine robot. 39 minutes. Okay. Guys and gals, we're about 39 minutes into the stream at 112 likes. Let's try to get up to 120. We're almost there for our second like goal. What Ponco saw.
I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge.
Hang on a second. Your regular recharge, what is that exactly?
I have to refill my battery's power or else I will stop working. I go to the lab to do that.
So that recharge occurred around 2 p.m., around the same time of the murder.
That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Mantis.
Hugged her, huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mom, is that right?
Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying.
Couldn't tell. Even though they were speaking very loudly?
I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me.
If it's listened to every voice, it would be a little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Ponco's testimonies are very vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that?
And then Mommy Mantis fell down. After that, I was...
Alright, I don't know what to delve too deeply here, but... Could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment?
Mommy Mantis was surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound.
Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have heartbeat detection systems. Now that you mention it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means... if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment... Ponco, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear her sound of her heartbeat?
Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then.
Of all the unlucky things, if you had heard anything after that, it couldn't have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder.
I'm very sorry. I am afraid I do not know. I am sorry.
The robot is designed to go to sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. Well, 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 but it does appear to detect an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. Nah.
After Mommy Mantis's heart started pounding, in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room.
The workbench, huh? Ponco must be talking about the table to the right where the giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Ponco's statement just now? Alright guys, what do you say? There is something? Never mind. Option A or B? Is there something strange in the robot hood? Or is it nothing at all?
I think... let's see...
What do you think, Yams?
The Metis' heart increased. She said her heart increased, then she fell by the workbench. But her body wasn't found by the workbench, I don't think. It was found near the operating area where they put things together.
Yep. All right.
So I think there is something weird about that.
There is something weird about it. Okay, let's go.
How did the body get moved to the other part of the thingy?
Yep. All right. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony, please. Very well. Ponco, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little gal. So proud of you.
Mommy Mantis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room.
Let's see. There are 2 round windows in the robotics lab. Which one did you mean?
The one on the right near the hanging scroll. The hanging scroll was Mommy Mantis' prized possession.
Okay, in the pictures of the crime scene from 7 years ago, this is definitely...
The one on near the hanging scroll.
The hanging scroll had a Japanese theater mask hanging on the workbench side wall. But is there some problem with this statement?
is no workbench there now. Wait, I don't know.
After I was charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon...
Hold it!
Prosecutor Blackwell, huh? I wonder what he went there for.
His objective, I don't know. I don't know.
I guess I can't very well ask Ponco to speculate. So what happened after Prosecutor Blackwell arrived?
And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point.
Hold it!
Okay. You don't remember what happened next? An error, huh? I wonder if...
All data is suddenly cut off at that point. I don't know anything after that.
The answer to that question is right here.
Why would someone cut her data off?
According to the defense's theory, this photo shows what the robot was being taken apart. Exactly. We can conclude that Ponco's error was the result of her being dismantled. Indeed. The bodies of these robots are designed to be controlled remotely by a separate computer. Yeah, that's basically what Miss Blackwell explained to us. She said that their hearts and memories are stored on separate computers. When the witness was taken apart, she lost the use of her body, but not her memories. That's how she is now able to give testimony about the events of that day.
Fascinating. It is as if she can be seriously wounded, but her soul still burns.
Therefore, a few parts of Ponco's testimony that are hard to interpret. Edgeworth chose to interpret hugged as stabbed. But I'd better try to iron out who did what and where to whom for myself. Hold on, Athena. I'm gonna save you. Don't worry.
Why would she stab her mom randomly? It just doesn't make any sense.
I went to the robotics lab about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge.
Alright guys, we're close to 120 likes. We're at the 47-minute mark. Let's do it before the hour mark.
Well, we know there was something odd about that last statement that was added.
3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot of testimony.
Yeah. Well, when she said she fell down near the round area, and then we looked at the picture of that scroll on the wall, we noticed there was something weird about it, like it didn't look right.
But the fourth statement is weird too. 6, 5, 4. Mommy Metis fell down near the round window of the workbench side of the room.
Yeah, so we could try to present something on there, because that doesn't seem to match what happened, because she was found somewhere else.
Probably present the photo of her death then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, there is something. Present what though? Present.
Maybe, some other... Let's see. Well, something that's showing, they're talking about the windows. Let's see, where is that? Do we have a photo of it from... Photo of the place where she fell? Okay, that's where she was actually found. Where's the photo of the place she was supposedly fell, or whatever? No, I don't think...
There's 2 photos though. How do you change the photos?
Oh, it has more than one photo?
It's supposed to have more than one photo.
Oh, it has 4.
There
we go. Okay, yeah, try that one, because that's... don't you think? Or...
Yeah, there's no blood stain.
That's supposedly where she fell.
Okay.
Objection!
Ponco, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough.
I was helpful. Hooray! I am so happy.
Right. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? Present window photo. Okay. The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table.
The operating table and the workbench are on 2 different locations.
Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the 2 very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The victim moved. The defendant moved the body.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Someone moved it, says Don? Question mark.
So the victim moved, the defendant moved the body. A lot of statements. And we have 2 different opinions in the chat. Some people say that the body moved, the victim moved, and some say that the defendant moved the body. Oh, I just had a theory. What if Athena found her mom and brought her over to the table to try to fix her?
Oh my gosh, disturbing.
So she thinks she's directly responsible for killing her mom, but her mom was already dead or dying. And then she stuck her on the workbench, which would explain the black psyche links that she has, because she herself is convinced that she killed her own mother.
Oh my gosh, look, that's really dark.
That would be incredibly horrific. I'm just saying. I mean, this is an M-rated game, so that's what I'm going with. Defendant moved the body. The fact that the body was observed in 2 very different locations indicates that the defendant moved the body.
That does seem like a plausible explanation.
Is that really your final answer? Huh? No! He's right. A little kid couldn't possibly move an adult body like that. And the last thing I want to do is cast more suspicion on Athena.
Mr. Wright, your response, please?
Can you just forget I said that, Your Honor, please?
I can't and I won't. As a matter of fact, here is a little reminder for you as well.
Well, it really needed to think this through. What could explain the 2 locations? Let me try again, Your Honor. What could explain the 2 very different locations of the body? The victim moved.
Well, we already tried the other one. Yeah.
Yep. An 11-year-old couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponco observed near the workbench couldn't possibly be in the moment of the murder. Oh, there goes my theory.
Oof. Oh, I'm relieved to hear that. At first, I thought you were kind of crazy, thinking that an 11-year-old could pick up a grown adult. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponco here.
That's right. Yep. As we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mom, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever.
Green? He's wearing blue. But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit.
Blue's my favorite color, after all. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. Moved for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree, since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, it would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present.
Then who do you suggest moved the body?
Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponco, allow me to ask you a question.
Oh, my name is Ponco! Say it with me, Ponco!
I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table?
Yes, I did. Athena asked me to move it.
Athena asked you to?
And what did you move, little Ponco?
I don't know. So unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is.
That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket's ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Ponco here can't identify what had moved.
My name is Ponco!
But we humans have the power to imagine what it is, do we not?
We do? I'm kind of lost.
Well, I do at the very least. Miss Ponco, on the defendant's command, move the body onto the operating table. Yeah!
Creepy. It is hard when you're a little kid, you don't understand how things work.
Ponco, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? That is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell?
I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it and draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions.
Oops.
In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
But Ponco is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. If her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. Ah! He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot, she moved the body to the table where she removed the sword that was stained in blood.
Order! But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place?
You want a reason? Very well.
Oh no, creepy, creepy.
What? You can't possibly have an explanation.
She was gonna fix her, probably.
Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from your robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating tables on one special feature?
I believe I read the robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right?
That's right. And to the defendant who was just a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds.
But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It just looked like magic to me, what she could do, you know?
You can't possibly be suggesting... Oh, but I am. This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponco's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
Oh, wow.
No way! I refuse to believe it! Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace...
Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, this is very disturbing. I demand that you word it delicately as you can.
With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table...
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word! Just stop! Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be! True! I think it's something else. Once they're done, I'm gonna... Before the judge, it's my theory time. Alright guys, theory time for Kwing. Here we go. Now, I am not a doctor, but I've had my heart beat to a very dangerous degree where I've been close to a heart attack, supposedly. What if she wasn't stabbed intentionally? What if, like, when she was in a heated argument with her daughter, that Miss Sykes actually was in the verge of a heart attack? The robot says that she was hugged and then her heart rapidly raced. And then they moved her over to the operating table. What if Athena thought that because robots can be repaired when they're sick, and her mom was on the operating table, that the machine started up and it killed the mother, and then in order to hide the murder or the accidental crime, the katana was used by the gentleman, the prosecutor, to make it look like he killed her.
Oh, like he stabbed... Oh, wow. So, like, Prosecutor Blackwell would have stabbed the mom to cover up for Athena so Athena wouldn't have to go to jail as a little kid.
Oh, I mean, it would have been an accidental crime, but maybe the little girl would have gone to jail. I don't know. But if the mother had a heart attack and the little girl tried to fix her by putting her on the operating table, started the machine that has buzzsaws and all this other stuff, and was trying to fix her heart, and she was attacked by her heart. Like, there's a sword slash or there's a slash mark right by her chest where her heart is. So she didn't have to deal with the guilt of knowing she possibly could have killed her mom, because in reality, if her mom had gotten to the hospital, she might have survived. I think that heart attack actually killed her. I think she was trying to fix her heart. I think that she had a heart attack. They had an argument, and she had a heart attack. That's my reasoning. Because they said that the heart beat very fast and she fell over.
What kind of argument could you have with your kid that would actually make you have a heart attack, though?
It depends how angry people get. Males have heart attacks from getting angry all the time.
So, what would it be? Like, maybe her little girl said, like, you never let me go outside, like, I hate you or something.
Maybe she disowned her mom. I don't know.
And then she was like, you're the worst mom ever or something. And then her mom, like, had a heart attack because of that.
Yeah, it's possible. Okay, so, shocking crime.
I don't know.
That would also explain the pool of blood that she saw and all that other stuff.
It just seems weird because as a parent, wouldn't you be used to your kid getting angry at you when you tell them what to do? Like, you would not think that would make you have a heart attack when your kid's angry. Because that's just a normal thing for kids to get angry at their parents when they tell them what to do.
I'm just saying. Okay. We don't know how old the mom was. She could have been, Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Whoops, I missed the judge. Court record. Whoops, or not court. History. Judge said, Order in the court. I say... Edgeworth, she was just a kid. How can you possibly say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Huh. Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It makes repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. Yeah, it's less dark too, fool! But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. Yes, it does. It's disturbing. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's the one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget that the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned the truth isn't always pretty, Wright. Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defense has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but... There's no way Athena could have done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something, but I can't think of a single thing. Who's objecting? Whoa! Prosecutor Blackwell? Huh. This is quite the farce you're conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based entirely on a false premise. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your baldness. I'll take to the stand, and I won't have no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. What in the world? Okay. 106. 7 years ago.
Maybe it was another stressful argument. Like, maybe like her mom was like, we have to move to a new school, and Athena was upset. Maybe it was something that didn't have to do with them. Maybe it was like outside circumstances.
It could have been stress from her work. It could have been she could have been under duress because of the bomb threat that she knew about. She could have been worried about Athena, and then the little girl said something cruel on top of it, because little kids say mean things like, I hate you, or I wish you died, or whatever. And, you know, she could have had a heart attack. Because of all the, you know, compounding factors. You know, the stress kills people. It does, especially adults. Heart attack is the most common death for adults. More so for men, but it does happen to women. Especially women who are under a tremendous amount of stress.
It can happen to anybody that's under stress. Even if you're a young person, you can, like, even if you're in your 20s, you can have a heart attack because you're too stressed out. It doesn't have to do with, like, it happens easier if you're older, but if you have a lot of stress when you're young, yes, you can have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. I knew someone in high school had a heart attack. They survived, but they were very stressed over their grades and not being able to graduate. And they had a minor heart attack, I believe is what they call it.
That's insane, Luke.
Mm-hmm. They recovered. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was.
Mm-hmm. You know what that is? It's like, it makes you feel better after you did it. It's like if you would punch somebody in Wii Fit that you hate, it would be cathartic.
It can be cathartic, okay.
Because it makes you feel better. Yeah.
Alright. I see the big wording then. Okay. Alright then. But little Ponco, he had witnessed the victim falling, in other words. Objection. I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... She fell means she fell, merely that. A mother and child fooling around, perhaps, she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponco described in her testimony? Huh. You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself, and she always had Ponco move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponco moved a heavy robot for Athena.
Oh wow, this is interesting.
He's trying to protect her. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
Huh. You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Huh. Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over.
Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder?
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the river Styx.
Oh, wow.
Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget, I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her?
Miss Blackwell! Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, meow, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish oaf!
Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce the verdict!
Is this really happening? Is it really gonna end just like this? 7 years ago?
I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him.
No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Now what? What? Athena? What are you? How are you? What?
I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something.
If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing that gets us through this.
Great, Athena's gonna have a mental breakdown.
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection. These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in the courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now.
Okay, and yet, you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer.
Thanks. That's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer that I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You're the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent, then...
The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what the truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years. To face the truth.
Athena's being so brave confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain, for I am not a man who can be cut down easily.
Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart.
Okay. Hey, Linky, you're being nice now? I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Oh, how cathartic it was. Happy he stabbed her.
He was waiting for that for a long time.
This is the one that's interesting. He saw something on that table. Also, he saw Athena standing there. Why were you happy, though? Why happy? Okay, here we go.
So why would he be happy on that second?
Well, he was very cathartic about killing someone, so, I mean, you know.
Maybe he was...
But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena instead.
But he's mad, but then he's happy at the same time.
This feeling of happiness is kind of weird. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy? Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Relieved of what? Just now you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? Are you some kind of creep? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about it. Gah! The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down.
Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology, boss. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch on to.
I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him, then bit by bit. Could you update his testimony then, Athena?
You got it, boss.
Boop, 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 boop.
So now we have to figure out
Another
statement
emotion
that would go inconsistent with what... What are you doing?
I'm saying hi. When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. There he is, petting her head. But Why is he happy here? But I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return, so I could happily slay her.
But now he said he's sad.
I plunged my katana in.
Why would he be sad when he did what he wanted to do?
Pinpoint sadness. I don't
Maybe
know.
because he knew he was going to go to jail?
I don't know. I really think she had a heart attack, and then there was an accident on the machine, and then he had to stab her with the katana.
This is a very disturbing case.
I mean, she was already dead. It's, just be desecrating a corpse, but still. Gross. Pinpoint sadness. I stabbed my knife into her, and I was sad doing it. Pinpoint. Oh, she had her hand raised. Maybe she woke up.
Oh my gosh.
Simon, no! Stab.
Oh my gosh, Luke, this is terrible.
It was just I passed out. Why? Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. Gah! He can't be talking about that, can he?
I was just a convenient subject for her research.
Poor Athena.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research that she forced her daughter to undergo experiments.
Wow.
My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject and robot. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I usually would find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subject to another experiment, I thought, as I went to see? Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. But what is this story really true? I'm not sure how much I believe.
Mr. Wright!
Hey, how you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there?
Yeah, I'm hoping something from my childhood doesn't come back and put me into a catatonic state. I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased.
Aren't you like 18? Something like that? Is she 18 or is she 20?
Yeah, she's like 18, so her childhood really wasn't that far away.
No. Wait. If it was 7 years ago and she was 11, how old is she now?
She's 18.
She's 18, okay.
11 plus 7 is 18.
It went up. I've never seen it do that before.
To get this cat's claws trimmed. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claims sound more believable. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings. That's what's causing all this noise.
How in the world would I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his baldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on the lost cause and let the law free me from these chains already.
Man, this guy's hardcore.
Man, I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now I'm contradicting testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? His emotions.
I mean, the only thing we have is emotions. There's no way we're going to be able to figure out what his contradictions were, because we weren't even there back then. We don't even know what happened. He said she cried herself to sleep. That's disturbing.
His emotions. Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions.
Got it, boss. But if you want to try looking for a contradictory statement instead, just let me know. I can easily switch it over to the other thing. Okay, Athena.
I heard crying from the next door. I was worried. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. Saw a surprise there now.
Yeah.
But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
Okay. Okay.
I would say surprise here.
That's the first time he was surprised.
Yeah.
I guess that's a new emotion. I don't know. I don't know, Luke.
How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Ugh. All right, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponco. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well my plan to rescue Athena. But she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponco do it, huh? That's right. She ordered Ponco to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponco up with a katana that was in the lab. Huh. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade.
Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now.
Yikes!
There you go.
Oh, I can just switch controllers.
Okay.
Thank you, Sweet Pete. One sec, guys. I gotta switch controllers. This is why we have two controllers. Ta-da! Oh. Well, yeah, that worked. Okay, one sec, people. This one does have a little bit more battery. I'll be right back, Link. Do not steal my spot. Do not.
Link, don't.
Don't. I'm coming right back.
Luke is coming right back. Link, don't.
Link.
Link, he already nudged over and he tried to bite me when I tried to keep him from stealing your spot.
Don't we look a little adorable? But don't steal my
You
spot.
tried to bite me, Luke.
Good boy.
I mean, no, don't bite Amber. I'm gonna sit on you now. Okay, you have to be between the two of us.
Whoa! My gosh, what are you doing?
I need to sit here too. He did bite me, you little rat.
I told you he was gonna bite somebody.
He did bite. He did bite. Okay, where are we? All right.
He doesn't even seem upset about it at all.
How can you even turn your head sideways like that?
It's
What are you,
all-
an owl?
It's all in a day's work. He's like 1 bite down, 8 more bites to go.
But I've never seen, even Zelda can't turn her head around like that. How is he able to do that? Are you disjointed or something? It's like a freaky owl. All right. It's at 100% now. What's going on here?
Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies.
No.
We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate.
It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind, wow. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. All right, what should I tackle first this time? Jeez, do we keep going after his emotions?
I think we already attacked one of his emotions.
Fine, we'll do his testimony then, I guess.
I guess we can try his testimony. I don't know. I mean, it seems to be... We already tried one of them. I guess we'll do the other one. I don't know.
Wow. Alright, we'll try the testimony now.
I mean, I don't really know how they expect us to do this. Well, since we already unlocked part of his emotion, maybe they'll add. Maybe he'll have more new testimony to tell. I don't know.
I guess we'll see. I think there might be an inconsistency in Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just completely winging this. Let's give it a thorough check then, okay, boss?
With a feeling of dread, I opened the robotics lab just then. Present? Wait, I can only present stuff now? Yikes. Update.
Oh, there. Ponco attacked me.
Ponco attacked me and retaliated by cutting it into pieces.
Oh, wow.
But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Athena came in. I refused to hand over Athena, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor. Arrgh. Poor Ponco.
Okay, so he says he dismantled the robot with his katana. Are we able to look at, like, the pictures of the crime scene we have, like, from that day? Or do we have pictures of when the robot was dismantled, or no? We don't have any pictures of it?
We have a picture of the dismantled robot right there.
Alright, well, that one has blood on it. And he's saying that he just said that he dismantled the robot first and then killed her mom. So wouldn't that mean that the robot wouldn't have any blood on it then? I don't know. Just trying to figure it out.
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photo, please. That's the photo of the supposed moment of murder, isn't it? How many more times must I see that which has, cursed me into, darned my soul?
I always say darned me for my sin. Honestly, if you use darned in that way, it's actually not a swear word because there are 2 different versions of that word, but if you want to make people happy so people don't get mad, you can just say darned me.
I'm in a mood today anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. How many more times must I see that which damned my soul? Wow, iconic thing. Ironic, isn't it? I think that picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the blood stain at the end of Ponco's arm? It was severed with the katana. I hope you aren't claiming it's robot's blood, Mr. Wright. No, Your Honor, no. Most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana. The katana already had blood on it? So then it must have been the victim's blood. That's right, but if that's the case, we've found a glaring inconsistency. Ugh. You said in your testimony that you cut up the Ponco and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponco's arm in this picture.
What? What could that mean?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it would be the wrong order.
Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponco's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but a giant ball of lies. Ha!
Oh.
Tell the court the truth, or I will keep pointing at you with my pointer finger. You have no idea what you're doing.
Ah, his voice! There's so much discord here, boss. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something, like a tornado of anger swirling about.
Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. No, I don't think so. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth, and nothing but the truth. Isn't that the rule of this courtroom?
All of these complex emotions, they seem to be flowing from one source, boss. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing all these feelings. Athena, I don't think you want to know what he saw.
He saw his mentor dead on the table. Following the sound of crying, I opened the door, and then... he saw something on the table. I saw it, that terrible scene.
Wow.
But before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. I had no choice but to kill my mentor. No, there's something on that table. There's something there.
Okay, then I think we should... oh, we can either do emotions or we can probe something.
Probe the table. He's not looking at Athena.
I don't know. Let's see.
Alright, so we have a couple options. We can probe the table or we can probe Athena.
Alright, what do you want to ask the chat?
Alright guys, you got two options. Probe the table where the prosecutor is looking, or probe Athena. His direct line of sight is the table though. He's looking at the table. Alright, probe Athena. I see a lot of probe Athenas. Link, what do you think? Link's asleep. Okay, Link.
I guess we'll try Athena.
Little freeloader.
Thank you, chat. Alright, we'll see what happens.
When you opened the door and saw Athena, you became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? You should know better. And though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Miss Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena's innocent, huh? Can you honestly say you believe that to be true? Right, Dono?
Whoa.
I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright! Well, we're having a cat party over here, Amber. I think Zelda's jealous.
I don't know why.
It was a tragedy. One I'll never forget for as long as I live. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled, with a far-off look in her eyes, as she sweetly said, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna fix mommy."
Well, this is creepy.
Yeah.
It's a horror film now. Something's wrong with my mom. I'm taking her apart so I can fix her.
That's what I saw. And now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted. Holy crap. No! Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is. It's beyond devastating.
I tried to take my mother apart?
Whoa.
She's gonna snap.
No! No!
Bye, Link! Link's like, well, I'm gone. Linky, don't attack Zelda. No, Link, this is not a time to fight. Amber startled you, don't attack.
So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother.
Athena! As I said, Wright, the truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
Objection!
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspirations on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people. But she loved her daughter with all her heart!
She loved me?
Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much?
Yes. My head hurt every time I wore them!
No, Athena. It's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger then than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with your everyday life. Dang!
No! That can't be true! Then why? Why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much?
Her love for you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew. That what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it. So you took the blame yourself. You and your mentor are more alike than you know. Ponco was a witness, so I put it in the case and held Athena close and vacated the lab. I threw Ponco away in the boarding lounge, trash chute. And I hid the case on the Space Center grounds. It would seem that we now have all the facts of this case.
Hold it!
No, not yet! It can't end like this.
Objection!
Do you not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has already been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that you disagree with? I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something, anything, even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work now. The defense is prepared to present evidence. Okay. The real...
Mr. Wright!
One sec. 1:30...
There is a lot of blood going on in this case.
Oh, yeah.
Blood over there. Blood over there. Blood on the floor. Blood on the operating table.
Alright, here we go. Yes, Athena.
It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake.
Athena, what are you saying?
I killed my mother. That's the truth.
It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts.
I don't think an 11-year-old could have used a sword like that.
Yeah, like maybe using the robotic thing, but it would be weird if she... I admit my guilt! But you don't even remember that, Athena. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess?
Very well. Then if you would, please take the stand, Miss Sykes.
Wow.
Well, I guess we're not going to be seeing her in future cases. Whoopsies.
I mean, it was an accidental murder. She was a little kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was an accident.
I mean, she'll be disbarred as a lawyer, definitely, but I don't see her going to jail.
Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end.
Wow, Athena. Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared, and the dark age of law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt, and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a bit hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
Holy crap!
Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have.
Yes, I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Objection!
What, Phoenix does? I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright?
But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her, I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless.
Nuh-uh. Don't tell me what you've forgotten one of your basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you're not a murderer.
Objection!
But...
I said that you never change, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years?
Uh-oh, Edgeworth is upset.
I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth. Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Whoa! Is this the first time he's ever actually unlocked Black Psyche links?
I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself, Mr. Nick.
Oh, even from herself? So she can't remember it. It went blacked out.
Who was the character that had Black Psyche links that we saw in a previous Ace Attorney game? Does anyone remember?
I can't remember, Luke. Maybe it was Maya when she was like accused of being possessed. I don't know.
Christoph Gavin was the first one in the series that we saw Black Psyche links? Really? Huh. Alright, well. There's still a chance somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be looking like for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still. That memory might contain a new fact that proves her innocence.
I hope for everyone's sake that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright. Now then, is there or is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession?
My memory is still a bit hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, the feeling of it stabbed in deep. I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers.
There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I think she pulled the sword out of her mom.
Yeah, or, I mean, something is weird. Like, maybe somebody else killed her mom, but
If there is a problem with her confession, please prove it to this court now.
She said she got blood on her fingers. She got blood on her fingers.
Okay.
Look at the katana, Luke. There's no blood on the handle.
The only blood is on the sword.
It didn't drip down onto the handle at all.
Alright, show katana.
But that still doesn't explain what happened.
Alright.
But, I don't know, it's odd because she said she got blood on her fingers. Unless she was holding the blade part of the sword.
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill their mother, Mr. Wright?
I respectfully disagree, Your Honor.
But I remember it! I remember holding the weapon and I got blood on my fingers, boss!
That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it and killing your mom, there should be blood on the handle of the katana. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts.
Whoa. You're right!
Oh my!
So how did she get blood on her... She remembers getting blood on her fingers.
Objection! The defendant must simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and you can't mull over every minor detail, right?
Objection!
But she always said there's no question I remember it. A fact we can't ignore. In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means? Gladly! Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone. But she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think! What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean?
Well, it doesn't even look like it got anywhere near the handle, so I don't think it was wiped off. So, there must have been something else that had blood on it. A shard of glass, or... I mean, I don't know if we have any other weapons in the court record.
We'll say a different weapon.
I don't know.
Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana? What are you up to this time, Wright? This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Miss Sykes' life was the katana. That much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocence.
A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly?
Right, of course, he would ask that.
A robot arm?
I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always? How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. Alright, that's right. I did. Because it's obvious it doesn't require any thought. What did you just say? Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration. But there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day?
Well, there's nothing on the floor.
Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos?
No.
Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that is what was in the lab. I don't have that particular weapon here in the evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. What? Other than the katana, this is another blade that could have been used in the crime scene.
Well, that thing looks like it has blood on it. What's that other thing that we have?
The utility knife?
It says it has the victim's blood on it.
But that's from something else. Present the knife?
I mean, it had...
Okay.
But that doesn't have blood on the handle that I can see. But I can see it's dripping towards the handle. I don't know. This is very weird. This whole thing is weird, but the blood is going towards the handle. I don't know, Luke.
Present knife. Okay. Alright, let's try it.
But that's the murder weapon in the clay cannon case.
Yeah, this is the knife that took Taryn's life. But there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one are issued to Space Center employees, and Robotics Lab especially would have naturally had one of these around.
Objection!
Right. But, besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report, if you didn't know.
Objection!
Oh, of course, I knew that. Once you told me just now. Then there's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene. But it didn't contain any blades. Here is a photo of its contents.
You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool.
That's because the blade is missing.
Fine. But isn't there something odd about the design of these tools?
Yeah.
Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Objection!
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife. And what proof do you have of that? Don't tell me your for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You are the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic senses.
Now, boys, he's simply watching out for your ocular health. Please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Thanks, Your Honor. Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them?
Yes, I see that they do. But what significance does this have?
It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing. Is that your theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with?
Edgeworth, just let it go, man.
Show the court, then, if you would, what pattern or design would we see if we were to arrange the tools? There, the book. There's a pattern on the book.
Giexa, or whatever, Giexa.
Take that!
And what design is this supposed to represent?
The GAXA logo, Your Honor. It's on all the Space Center documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, this logo is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center.
Look at how brightly the Giexa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going on.
Huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program?
I think I see it now, but...
Yeah, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we're able to place the utility knife in the open slot...
Oh, that's Terran's blood. Oh my gosh.
Yep. It would complete the logo.
So it would. Then that means...
Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours, and while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one.
Ah! Order! Order in the court!
Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of the stabbing of the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't have been that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a moment that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was a utility knife? Don't be ridiculous. Are you changing the premise of your entire argument? No. I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put the blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife of her personage until Blackwell carried her away.
That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence.
If in fact the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand, Wright. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that you were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands?
No!
It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. Now we have the other cat.
I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if...
Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright. When will you open your eyes and accept the truth?
Go.
Uh-oh.
No. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. But what if... Mr. Knight, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do.
What are you gonna do now, Wright? Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt? I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case. Thoroughly. Up, here we go. Okay, Rethink Case. I think we're coming to the end of the chapter soon.
Yeah.
Rethink Case.
Oh man, this is intense. Like, I don't know
This
what
is
happened.
the most intense case that I remember for Phoenix. I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponco witnesses Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. That means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Someone else.
Someone else?
A third person was at the scene. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene.
If she didn't stab her mom, she must have stabbed somebody else.
She must have stabbed someone else in retaliation for her mom. But according to Ponco's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only 2 there. But then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponco's detection? I know. This person must have fooled Ponco's facial recognition feature by covering their own face.
Oh, wow. Ooh, putting like a
Could be a mask or something. But wait a minute, Ponco has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponco would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. That's it!
Oh my gosh.
The culprit could have covered their face and posed as a person to avoid detection.
She could have posed as the dead person after she died.
The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection?
She could have put her jacket on with the ID thingy. I don't know.
The person posed as the victim. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponco thought she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponco's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket.
Whoa.
The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it, but that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It would have worked if Ponco could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by the time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit.
Yeah, the person who killed her mom, maybe. That's disturbing.
Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit.
She stabbed somebody who killed her mom?
Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring us to the swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to the hostage negotiations.
Yes, I believe you are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby... Objection!
What?
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second, because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact. Miss Sykes is innocent.
But Ponco saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime.
Yes, Ponco did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife.
She saw her hugging somebody else.
But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother.
What are you suggesting, Mr. Wright?
The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Whoa. We don't even know who that person is.
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed in you. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha! You make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Ponco's strange malfunction. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran, but that Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost.
That was another case of mistaken identity caused by the jacket ID tag. All because Ponco couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch.
Oh,
Like
wow.
Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Oh, yeah, because... Yeah.
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them.
No, because...
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What?
So does that mean...
Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed... The third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer.
Whoa.
But that's... Impossible!
Oh my gosh. A mask! That person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order! Order in the court! Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask! Yes, I remember,
Athena, what is it?
Oh man, she's breaking down. Uh-oh, this is not good. I remember a man with a mask! How could he? What did he do to my mother?
Sykes, are you alright?
No!
The black psyche locks! They're breaking!
You're rustling. Man, I hope Athena is not gonna have to go to a psych ward after this. This is not gonna be good for her. Her psyche locks are broken? Oh my gosh.
It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened that day to my mother was... That day my mother was murdered.
They're gone! The black psyche locks are finally gone! You didn't realize you stabbed your mother, did you? You didn't really stab your mom. It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day.
Disturbing.
I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to go show my mom. I opened the door, and then...
It's alright. I'm right here. You're safe.
She was on the floor by the workbench with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there!
A man?
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena.
He tried to attack me in a panic. I grabbed the knife that was there and... he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again.
And this time you got him, didn't you?
I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out.
Oh wow, she stabbed him in his hand.
So that means there's a scar on his hand.
She stabbed him in the hand.
When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her. I thought... So I asked Ponco to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with my mom. So I'm taking her apart to fix her.
Oh, that's so disturbing. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us some critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit!
Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, Your Honor. I'm afraid I don't.
A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything about that?
Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab.
This mask is hanging here on the wall?
It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a gnome mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom.
A phantom?
It would seem so. That new suspect has emerged, and that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has...
Hold it! You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer, and I won't accept any other verdict.
Miss Blackwell, this is not good.
A new suspect? Where's the proof of this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't just all a dream in the little princess's groggy little head?
Oh, she's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for what you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I did not kill my mother.
Athena, I'm so glad for you.
More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one more thing if I could. Ponco came to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. for my regular recharge.
One sec. One sec, guys and gals. Sorry about that, guys. I was talking to Amber about something. Alright, so Ponco came in, did its thing.
Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged her mom, and then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging. I don't know anything else.
I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise...
Right! Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m.
Do I have anything here in the evidence area that can help find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Links are all broken. The killer was a man. Man was the killer. Presents.
Well, we have to prove there was a man in the thing. We don't have any videotape of the...
We only have Simon Blackwell, though.
Maybe that was the mysterious...
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident after 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does this video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then. Let's take a look.
Oh my gosh, Luke. Are we gonna see another person?
There! Stop it right there!
Somebody else with an injured hand.
It's just like you said, there's a man leaving the scene of the crime! Miss Sykes, do you remember this person?
That's him! I'm sure of it! He's wearing my mother's jacket! I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket.
The jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes.
Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day! And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere!
So then, everything Miss Sykes said... Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hit her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponco charged at 2 p.m. every day.
So he waited for Ponco to come to the lab for her regular recharge.
By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponco into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to the point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. Why? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is.
Edgeworth's right, though. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it end up back at the lab? Oh my gosh.
I mean, who's the defendant? Athena? The killer is the evil person. The victim is... Well, the victim couldn't have brought it back. She's dead. Athena probably didn't bring it back because...
The killer had to bring it back, but that sounds ridiculous.
She was a little girl. How would she go grab it from a killer and then bring it back?
Whoops. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal the fact that he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene, so the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
So he returned to the scene of the crime?
Return jacket. I expect that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were the prosecutor Blackwell and the people reported the body, and they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived.
Unless one of them was the people.
So, who do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? When the body was found?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket is when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. What is that? She threw up? Oh, great. Zelda. Lovely.
I don't know what. I'm gonna have to clean that up later.
I'll clean it up after the stream. The culprit could have taken advantage of the split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was the one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for Have-One's launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it would have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database from the robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with a theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth? Does this mean? I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, Wright. Not that this is ever an official trial anyway. My ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding?
Is it true, boss? Does this mean
I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no further need to prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no need to further prolong. No, not you either, Your Honor. Now silence.
The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid that love with death. All these years hating Athena was the only thing that kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anyone tell me? How am I supposed to go on?
Miss Blackwell. Huh. How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner, isn't that...
Shut up, Simon! You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I...
Then what did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aura, there's something I've wanted to say if you'll lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis's murderer is. You too? Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past? That's right, yeah. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 rocket. The spy... But he was no ordinary spy. He knew not about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, how exciting! What was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor to proper voice analysis. Yet I'd hope Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze the human emotions, so I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, Spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity exposed. In addition to Hat 1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets, but his search for the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic. He couldn't find them, but where could he have been? Huh. Who is to say? Wow, I bet he's never let out of his sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing.
Bird.
The bird! I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity. You bloody butcher, became my taunt. Ah! And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself. But take a good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. I'd better hold on to this real tight. Phantom's psychic profile added to the court record. This is a long quest. Psychology profile classified. Emotional output of his voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness, not anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart, don't you see? This creature is the root that destroyed our lives, and set what ails us into motion. The Phantom indeed, a fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, it seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we've learned, I'd like all of you to conduct a further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want.
You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, Your Honor. It's over. At least, for now. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Athena, you're more than welcome. If anyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. What? You? You gotta be kidding me.
Well, this is
Apollo?
interesting.
What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. You're kidding! Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? Okay, alright. Oh, wow.
Well, I guess we continue it tomorrow.
I mean, that's all dependent on if people can get the views up. Alright, guys, so we're ending this case at 700 views. That means 800, 900, 1,000 views are required for the next episode. And hopefully you guys can pull it off. That's incredible.
Does Apollo know the killer's identity?
Apollo knows something.
Either that or he just likes saying objection.
Alright. So guys, the streams are running late. The Star Wars stream will be starting up in a few minutes. But I need to go clean something real quick. See my... Apollo arrives. Okay. Alright guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super chat. Star Wars will be starting momentarily. And if you guys want more Ace Attorney, you know what to do. This is getting very, very exciting. Alright, later guys and gals. See you on Star Wars.